Good to see you around here, these parts. Pat, how we doing, buddy?
DA, doing well here in Caesars Superdome. Always fun watching a game here. Last time I was here was the Super Bowl. That was a blowout, a bigger blowout than this one. But the Giants offense really embarrassed themselves today. So staring at the empty field, thinking of the empty fortunes of the Giants looking ahead here.
So was this a case where the Giants took a step back in execution or something that the Saints did today?
It was definitely a step back in execution from a standpoint of they had a plan for how to play without Malik Neighbors. It was, let's use two tight end sets, Daniel Bellinger, Theo Johnson. Let's attack in the middle of the field. Brian Daboll said they saw something in the Saints base defense they could take advantage of. They score on their first two drives, consecutive touchdowns, both passes to Theo Johnson. First time the Giants have opened a game with consecutive touchdown drives on offense since 2020. Yay.
Oh,
yes.
God.
Yeah, what a stat that is.
But
they would make more history. Just wait. So once the game ends, 5 straight turnovers, including 6 straight if you include a turnover and downs. First time an NFL team has turned the ball over on 5 straight drives since the Jets did it 9 years ago. Now,
wow, that says it all about New York football.
Yes, the circus is in town. And what the execution element that failed is, even though they had a good plan, once the Saints went into nickel defense, took away what they were doing with the tight end matchups on the linebackers, the Giants not only didn't have an answer and kind of a counterpunch, but then once they faced a little bit of adversity as far as not executing, Darius Slayton with a key fumble late in the second half, DA was just an avalanche. And the big picture as you step out and look is, okay, you put this rookie in and you thought it was the right time. Obviously, it was the time that the coach needed something to go right for him. But now, is this really the right climate for him to be playing within? Because the final half of the game was a coaching staff not putting the team in a position to succeed on offense and just not a lot of personnel answers to come up with.
So what's the solution then? Because you can't really pull the rug out from under Jaxson Dart after just 2 starts, right? He's just going to have to ride this.
Yeah, it's a great question, because I think, first of all, short week, Dart ends up, he's the starter against the Eagles. And I did talk to Andrew Thomas, the left tackle, after the game. He said, Dart does give us a spark. We like his mobility, we like his fire. The team does like him and rallies around him, and they plan to continue to do that. And he did have some plays early on, especially like his second touchdown throw to Johnson. He zipped it in there. It was a great throw, put it where only he could get it. He's got a lot of the physical tools, even though the deep balls leave a little bit of something to be desired so far. But DA, I floated this on Talking Ball Live right after the game. I think, I'm not saying we're here yet, but this could, if we see a repeat performance of this against the Eagles on Thursday night, and then they go to Denver, and these are 2 defenses and teams, as you know, much more difficult to play against than the previously winless New Orleans Saints. If we continue to see this, we might have a situation kind of like Minnesota with JJ McCarthy, where it's like, okay, the conditions, whether it's the speed of the game for him, whether it's we're not doing the right thing by him with our offensive line, with our weapons, maybe it's time to take a step back. And, again, we're not there yet. It's just 2 games in. We're 6 or 7 days away from him winning a game against the previously undefeated Chargers, which I agree with you, frauds. But, I think that it could get to the position where if they don't add significant personnel to the offense, you're going to be looking at this 3 weeks from now and saying, wow, they didn't put Dart in because it was the right time for him to join the team. They put him in because the coach was trying to save his job. So you're asking me for a solution, and I wish I had one. But, I mean, you tell me, if you're Joe Schoen and Brian Daboll right now, are you spending assets to go get a receiver? Because on the one hand, you need one. But on the other hand, you're not a contender. Is it really going to vault you over the top? It's a very difficult spot for them to be in.
Do you think that they made the Jaxson Dart move for Brian Daboll and Joe Schoen to save their jobs?
I think Brian Daboll, yes, and I think Brian Daboll kind of puffed his chest out and said it was my decision, right? He made that very clear.
Yep.
Because he wanted to own it, But also, my understanding was very much a reality that it was a conversation behind the scenes. And, there was a push and pull of, okay, but why now? Not yet. And the coach stuck his neck out. And that's what you see kind of the footage coming out from the Chargers game of him screaming, "That's our guy." And the way that he was showing such an affinity for this player and this person and this quarterback. And even before the game, DA, I think it was Jason McCourty said something that I've heard before, but I had never heard somebody say Brian Daboll said it. Daboll, they were saying on the broadcast that Daboll had said during the week that Dart reminds him of Josh Allen in a lot of ways, without saying he's the same player, but that it reminds him of him. And so that is the level of that's true. That is the level of belief he has in the kid. But no, Daboll at 0-3 needed to save his job. Russell Wilson was a guy who, Joe Schoen really believed in, and Daboll ran with too. But that experiment had to end, or else Daboll was going to go out without ever being able to say the quarterback that I selected never got on the field for me. Like, he was the reason that they steered off Shador and went to Dart. That was Brian Daboll who led that kind of shift. So it was made to save his job. I don't know if it's going to.
So do you believe that Joe Schoen actually was resistant in starting Jaxson Dart this early?
Yes. But I don't think he didn't believe in him. I think Joe is, as he should be, is attuned to the bigger picture and the greater landscape of it, DA, which is let's say you and I are sitting in the Giants locker room and we've spent 6 months being told by the organization, Russell Wilson's your leader. This is the guy. You follow him. And he became the North Star for the organization in the locker room where there was a leadership void. So all the players went, okay, we're getting in line behind this guy. And 2 bad games on offense, 1 pretty good game on offense where they still fall flat on their face at the end and lose in overtime to Dallas. And when they pulled the plug, the team was surprised by that. Like, the players, not that
really, wow,
yeah, oh yeah. Like, they knew that it was dire, but it was more about, like, wait a minute, we've been going to dinners with this guy. We've been getting to know him. He's the only one who's been throwing passes to all the starting receivers. Like, we don't split the reps, and it's Russell or bust with the kid developing and wait until he's ready. And, there's the chirps behind the scenes of like, man, this could be like a Mahomes situation where he only plays 1 game or none and he redshirts his first year. And it goes from that to, wait, we believe in Jaxson. He's going to be the guy. We're going to change the offense for him. We're going to run up tempo. We're going to, it spun players' heads around. And if you noticed, they were diplomatic about it, but plenty of the players said things along the lines of, DA, when they made the change. It was like, that's above my pay grade, but like, I'll go along with it. I'll support it. I like Jaxson. And it was not about not supporting Jaxson. Similar to your question about Joe Schoen. It's not about not supporting Dart. Schoen did, after all, make the trade up for him and decide in the end that he agrees with Brian Daboll and is going to go get him. It was about what it signified. What it signified was the season is over. And as you see from the Houston Texans, now 2-3 after starting 0-3, the season's not all the way, definitely, technically over at 0-3, but the message you're sending to the locker room when you tell them all to buy into Russ and everybody gets on board and then you yank the plug on it that quickly, you're telling the locker room, the plan that we told you guys about all offseason that was going to get us back on track is done, finished. We're abandoning it. Now it's about Jaxson. And these guys are smart enough, DA, to know that turning to the future in week four means what it means. But so Joe Schoen doesn't want, he was aware of the fact that it sends that message. So he doesn't want the team quitting on the field and folding in the towel and throwing in the towel, because for him, if they lose, but some of the prospects on their team, the young players he's drafted, still look good, he can say, let me hire the next coach. We've got some more pieces in place, blah, blah, blah. And that could be something that the organization buys. But if he was able to stretch out the Dart playing a little bit longer, DA, as a general manager, that keeps you safer because you can buy more time to say, let's see what it looks like in 2026.
You cover the Giants on a daily basis, but obviously you know the entire league and you know the division very well. And it's kind of hard to figure what's going on with the Eagles. This is not a good look today. Broncos are not terrible, but the A.J. Brown passing attack, nothing quite feels all that comfortable with the Eagles, and now they take a loss today. Yeah. Where do you put the Eagles in the power rankings, the grand scheme of things?
They are definitely well behind the Lions for me, which I think is what matters in the context of what you're asking me, which is this is the reigning Super Bowl champs. They're built to win again, but I picked them to repeat. And I don't think I'm, one of the only people who did that. And you and I have both seen that the sign of a good team often is when they're not playing their best or even close to it and they're still winning. And that's what they were doing those first 4 weeks. The best thing for them is that 2 of their next 3 games are against the Giants, and then they have a bye after their next 3. So you can get healthy and get some more wins under your belt and kind of take a deep breath. But DA, have you ever seen a team undefeated with more drama in a week than the Eagles just had going into this game? What is going on? Like,
it's never ending over there.
I don't, sometimes you and I know sometimes teams lean into, oh, well, some of this is media driven and this and that. None of this was. This is an all-pro receiver.
It's locker room created.
Yep. And that, they have a lot of strong personalities on that team. And so when you have teams like that, you need 2 things. You need some stern coaching to keep them in line and keep some structure around them and also put them in positions to succeed and guys to be factors, get the ball, etc. And you also need to win. Now, they're doing the winning part. They lost this game, bad loss, the way it happened. I mean, the Broncos had 3 points, I think, early in the fourth quarter. Discouraging to see them give up 2 long touchdown drives to the Broncos like that, because the Eagles defense really this season has been their more consistent calling card than the offense has as it works the kinks out. I think what's happening is teams are just trying not to let Saquon beat them, and they're forcing Jalen Hurts to beat them. And what we've seen over the course of Jalen's career is he's good enough to win more often than he loses in those spots. But if you hem him in, that can be the worst version of Philly, if that makes sense. I don't follow A.J. Brown's gripes. I think that it's selfish of any player when your team's undefeated to complain like that publicly. I do think offensive play calling wise, there needs to be some sort of shift. I need to go back and watch this Broncos-Eagles game today, play for play, to see it exactly. But texting with some people in the league, I know that's been like a common theme from today coming out of that game, is Patullo, Sirianni, not that they don't understand how to use the personnel at all, but is the game script correct? Are they running the right plays at the right times? Are they managing the game properly when they have a lead? Those types of things. But I will say this. Last year, they had problems early and they weren't winning every game. And what changed their season was Vic Fangio going to Nick Sirianni and him having a conversation about, we need to start practicing differently. We need to practice harder. Our defense needs to drive this, all that, blah, 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 blah. And so they're already doing that, though. Like, that happened last season. So now what's the adjustment? I think offensive play calling is the most likely place to look. I know also offensively, their interior offensive line's banged up. Like, Landon Dickerson's like in and out of the lineup, and they're not their best version of themselves without him.
You joined us last season, and so we were able to send you a bottle of Santo Tequila for joining us this year. Another bottle of delicious Santo Tequila, yes, which is Guy Fieri and Sammy Hagar's collaboration, is going to be coming to your door. I want to know what your review was of the Santo from last season.
Oh, well, it's gone. First of all, it was delicious. It was smooth. That's always what I'm looking for, is smooth. It's the finish, right? And that's my favorite part about it, is that it tastes good going down. But sometimes you have an alcohol or a drink where you taste it, hits your lips, you're excited about it, and then it goes down and it burns, or it bothers you and you don't feel like you want a second glass. The best part about Santo was I poured the second glass.
Very
And
nice.
it's because of the finish. And that's
Very
nice. Why I agreed to come back on, DA, obviously.
That's awesome, man. Well, thanks so much as always. Santo certainly appreciates it. We'll get you another bottle out there. And you got the Talking Ball podcast as well, right? So that is already live. Our audience right now can check you out to check out your pod.
Yes, thank you. After DA Live, you can go and rewatch the rewind of Talking Ball post game live right here from the stadium on Giants Saints, and then also going a little bit around the league. And then stay tuned. Monday night we'll be back live. The handle is PL on NFL on YouTube, Talking Ball with Pat Leonard. And even though it's late night, DA, we go post game live after Thursday Night Football from MetLife Stadium, Eagles Giants on Thursday.
Very nice. PL on NFL is the handle on YouTube. Pat knows the league inside and out. I highly encourage you to check it out. Go there on YouTube and make sure you are subscribed to his channel. Thanks, brother. Appreciate it, man. And your setup sounds so good for the Superdome. Like really, really crisp. Very nice. We always appreciate that around here.
Thank you, DA. Thank you so much for having me on. Always appreciated.